Most buyers in Irvine are shocked when they figure out just how much closing costs can be. They can range anywhere from tens of thousands to hundreds of thousands of dollars, depending on the home that you're about to purchase. And all of this is coming on top of your down payment. So your upfront costs on a home might be a lot more than you're expecting. But here's the thing, it's not just a bunch of random costs for no reason. And whether you're buying a condo or you're buying a luxury estate, it's still going to be the same things that you're paying for, just on a bigger scale. But understanding what you're paying for, one, can give you peace of mind, but number two, it can also give you leverage when it comes to negotiating, possibly not paying those expenses. Today, I'm going to be breaking down exactly what closing costs are and how you may be able to negotiate to get them a little bit lower. But first, I am a realtor here in Irvine, so if you're looking to buy, rent, or sell, make sure you reach out to me. All of my information will be in the description below. I'll also put my number right here. That way you can make it really easy to give me a quick text or a call. But now we'll get back into the video. So number one is, what are closing costs? So really what closing costs are the back-end necessities necessary to close on your home, and you're going to have to pay for that process. Now normally on the buy side, it's going to be anywhere between 2 and 5% of the total purchase price of the home. So let's say, for instance, you bought $1 million home, you're going to be paying on average $20,000 to $50,000 in closing costs. But again, these are fully negotiable and can go all the way down to zero and be fully paid for by the seller. But the basic idea of what it's coming from is escrow, title, insurance, appraisal, inspections. Those are going to be kind of the ideas of what you're going to be paying for. And for a lot of people, it can be a hidden cost because they don't really look into it, or they're just not informed on what it is. So you want to make sure before you get into a deal, you know exactly what you're going to be paying up front, because that's the other part about closing costs, is they're not wrapped into the loan. This is going to be paid at the end of escrow, a one-time fee. So you want to make sure that you're going to be able to cough up all of that money at once. So now we're going to see what these closing costs actually are. Number one is loan origination fees. Now this is going to be coming from your lender, and it's normally 0.5 to 1% of the total purchase price of the home. Number two is the appraisal fee. If you're getting a loan on a home, you have to make sure that the home appraises. And that's going to cost you about $500 to $800 to get an appraiser out there. And number three is title insurance and escrow fees. This is basically protecting your investment and doing the back end work to make sure that it changes from the seller's title into your title. And number four is property taxes and prepaids. Normally you're going to pay around 6 months of property taxes upfront at the close of escrow. Then you have homeowners insurance. This is normally going to have the first year paid upfront at the close of escrow. Then if you're in an HOA, you're going to have HOA transfer fees, meaning that you're going to get basically a couple bills from the HOA association and make sure that you get them paid so that it can change into your name. Then you have a recording fee. The county has to make sure that it's recorded from the seller's name into your name, and that's also going to cost you. And then you have a home inspection. Now this isn't necessary, but it's necessary. If you're buying a home, you want to make sure that you know any and all defects. It normally costs around $400 to $600, but it can save you from spending $30,000 on a brand new roof 2 months later because you didn't get it. And this is also a great point of negotiation, because if you go in for a home inspection, and let's say you need to replace the HVAC system, that can be tens of thousands of dollars, and you want to make sure that you're possibly not the one paying for that, so you can negotiate with the seller to cover it, to fix it, or that can be a great reason for you to back out of a deal and make sure that you don't have to stay in it and pay for that when you don't want to. Now there's more smaller fees, but this is going to be the broad ones that are going to come up with the most percentage of what you're paying for. And it can really change depending on where you are. So city to city, it can be different, but really state to state, it's also a big difference. So you want to make sure that you know exactly what it is for your specific area. So that's why you want to talk to a professional before ever getting into the process, so you know exactly what it's going to look like for you. Another hint that I like to say for my clients is, right when you get approved by a lender, you want to get an estimate of cost so you know what it's going to cost for them. And then the second you get into escrow, you also want to ask the escrow officer for an estimate of costs. Now, both of these times, it's not going to be 100% accurate, but it's going to give you a rough estimate of what you're going to have to pay for. And it itemizes exactly what you're paying for. So one, you know how much it is, and two, you know where it's coming from. And I'm personally someone who, even if I'm paying for it and I have to pay for it anyways, I at least want to know what it's going towards, and this is a great way to do that. So how much are closing costs in Irvine? It's going to be, again, kind of the same idea, 2 to 5% of the total purchase price of the home. So let's say you went more of a starter route, $500,000 for a condo. you're going to be paying roughly $10,000 to $25,000. If you're paying $1 million house, it's going to be roughly 20 to 50. If you're doing 1.5, it's going to be roughly, what would that be? 35 to kind of 65, $70,000. So that's going to be a big thing for you to save up for. So let's say you're putting 20% down with a conventional loan, and on $1 million house, it's $200,000. You also might need to cough up another $50,000 for closing costs. So you want to make sure you understand these fees so they're not hidden fees when you actually go to buy the home. But again, another reason why you want to make sure you do your due diligence first is you also want to understand what these costs are so that you can negotiate better. If you have no clue what's going on and then you ask the seller to cover something, you can't say why you want them to cover it, then they're not going to cover it. So you want to make sure you talk to a professional and have a well thought out plan before you go and look at homes and start writing offers, because that's where you're going to save the most money. So how do you prepare and save? Number one, obviously, like I was just saying, you want to talk to a professional first, and you want to basically budget for 3 to 5%. Now again, it can be 0 if you negotiate correctly and structure your deal in a way that does that. But right now, we're not in a buyer's market. Sellers have the advantage. So for this to happen, you're going to have a really good offer and, to be quite honest, get pretty lucky. So you want to make sure that you budget for 3 to 5% in closing costs just in case. As I always say, preparation is key, and you're always going to fail to your highest level of preparation. So if you have none, you're doomed to fail. But closing costs don't have to be scary. If you talk to a professional first and understand them fully and know what you're getting into before you get into it, it's not going to be that big of a deal for you because you know what's on the other end of it. And that's getting a home that you absolutely love, building equity over the years, and hopefully getting to the point where you have financial freedom. So I hope that detailed a good amount into closing costs here in Irvine and what they might be for you. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and let me know you did. If you really enjoyed it, I'd hope you consider subscribing, because I do release videos once a week on Friday detailing the benefits of homeownership and how to buy a home. But as always, thank you so much for tuning into this week's video. If you have any questions in the meantime, again, feel free to reach out. All my information is in the description below. But thank you so much for watching this week's video. I can't wait to see you in the next one. Have a good week.